Hey, y'all, and welcome back. Welcome if you're new. My name is Tiffany. I'm happy to have you here. Today I'm going to be doing a flip through of NOTGRASS, our Star-Spangled Story history curriculum. I showed this recently in our end of the year review, talking about what we've used this year and what worked for us, and I was talking about how much we enjoyed this. I've shown it in some day in the life videos when we were doing our homeschool stuff. I've talked about it here and there and talked about how well it worked for us, how well it worked as a family subject, being able to sit down and do this together all the way from my kindergartner to my 5th grader. It worked well for everyone, and we have enjoyed it. And I was talking about how much we had enjoyed it, and I had a few people reach out to me over on Instagram and say, hey, I would really like to see a little bit more inside of that and hear more about why it worked so well for you, how it worked so well for you, what you liked about it. So that's what we're going to do today. I have it all laid out here in front of me. I'm going to get you all set up, and we're going to flip through some of this and talk about it. I have every piece out here in front of me that comes with the bundle, and I also have the extra notebooks because I have 3 kiddos. So I had one bundle and then got extra notebooks for the other 2 kids. So anyway, stick around. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to get you all set up, and we'll look through this curriculum. Editing Tiffany here. I was putting this together and wanted to make mention, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned this later in the video, but I wanted to go ahead and say it here as well. NOTGRASS did send me this curriculum to review and let them know what we thought about it, let you guys know what we thought about it. I always give my honest opinion, so everything that I say, the fact that we loved this is not swayed at all by the fact that NOTGRASS sent us this curriculum to review. It is such a blessing to be able to do that, to let them know what we thought about it, to let you all know what we thought about it. So I just wanted to put that out there. Yes, they did send us this curriculum to review, and yes, these opinions are 100% mine. Okay, here it is. Here's everything that we used for history, and like I said, when you buy the bundle, it comes with both of the textbooks, the rhymes and rhythms book, the timeline, the answer guide, and one of the student notebooks. And then you can purchase these separately. So like I said, I added 2 extras so that all of my kids would have one. Let me just start by telling you how we use this. So for us, we did this about twice a week. We've made it through book 1, and so then we're going to move on to book 2. But we do this about twice a week. We do this as a group subject, so we all sit down together to do this. And I read the lesson, and then the kids, either while I'm reading or as soon as I finish reading, they do what they have for the day in their student workbook. And I'll show you in just a second why this student workbook works so well for all of my children, from my kindergartner all the way to my 5th grader. First, let me kind of show you inside one of these textbooks. Now, it's a part 1 and a part 2, so that the book's not just so big and daunting, and it just works really well this way. And so the lessons take up about 5 or 6 pages, but there's a lot of beautiful pictures in here. Let me just go ahead and show that to you. This right here is inside of the front cover. Is that not gorgeous? And let me show you. Now, this starts with creation-ish, and it talks about how the first people probably came to America. There's a lot of stuff right here in the front, just kind of explaining to you how the curriculum works, letting you know a good way to set it up, that kind of thing, if that's something that you want. But it kind of starts with the Tower of Babel, or the Great Flood, the Tower of Babel, and talking about how people probably came to America. And then this book goes all the way to, I think it's like 1867 or something like that. And then this book picks up and goes all the way to 2018. Just kind of flipping through and showing you some of these pictures. So like I was saying, it may take up about 6 pages, but it's because there's a lot to look at, and I really loved that about it, and so did the kids. I will also say another thing that I really love about this is that it is set up almost like a storybook. And that is the way that I love to learn about history, and the way my kids love to learn about history as well. I wish that when I was in school and I was their age, that is how I would have learned history. Not so much just throwing dates at you or things like that, but actually telling you stories and telling you about the people and telling you about what their life was like and the things they went through. People who immigrated to our country, people who were part of the Industrial Revolution in the country, people who took part in different wars. It talks about missionaries. It talks about how the presidents interacted with people from other countries, and talks about the life that they lived. It is a story, and I enjoy that. It gives you the facts. It gives you all the information, but it tells you the story along the way, and it tells you about people and what they lived through and what they did. It also, at the end of each unit, has a fun project. Some of these we did, some we didn't. They were all pretty simple and things that we were able to do. This one right here, for example, is George Washington's breakfast. It's some recipes. There were some that we did where we made clay pottery and just different things like that. We loved this and loved the way that it was set up. I'm going to go ahead and flip back to the front and give you a little bit of a view of the different units and lessons and what all it covers. I'm going to go ahead and show you real quick inside of book 1, and then I'll flip to book 2 and show you the lessons and units in it as well. Here is the table of contents for book 1. I'm just going to flip through here kind of quickly. You can always pause it and take a look if you would like. In book 2, or part 2, the kids were actually looking through this earlier and talking about how they were excited to learn about some of these things that are coming up. And that's kind of a look at what's inside as far as units and lessons. So at the end of each lesson, there are some activities that you can do, and it will have you find things on the map that's in the book. It may have you listen to something out of this rhymes and rhythms book, or rhythms and rhymes, that I'm going to show you in just a second. It may have you, it'll tell you what to do in your workbook, show you that in just a second. And then right here, this is kind of what we would focus on at the end of each lesson. And it's 3 questions just to ask your kids to start conversation and to see if they retained what you just read and studied on. And again, like I said, what you do in your workbook and just any other information right here at the end of the lesson. And there's always a Bible verse included at the end of the lesson as well. This right here is the answer key that I was talking about. You may or you may not need this. It definitely does help with just kind of visualizing some of the answers or possible answers to the questions. Some of them are questions at the end of the lessons that do have an answer, and some of them are more of an opinion and just tell me what you think. And so this right here gives you a good guide to go on when you're doing those questions. There's also a literature guide, and in that blue section at the end of the lessons, there'll be suggestions and stuff on different literature that you can read if you want to. And this just kind of goes into that more and talks about discussion questions that you might cover if you do that extra literature. This is the Rhythms and Rhyme book. And there is a CD. I don't know if the kids have it. Yeah, they have it in here right now. There's a CD that you can listen to these songs and things on there, and it will tell you different ones to go with different lessons. And it just kind of gives you a little bit of back knowledge of things that people might have been singing or playing or doing during the different time frames that you're studying and the different time periods that you're studying. The kids really enjoy this. We don't always do it with the lesson. It just depends on how our day is going. But they love to just put this CD in and listen through some of this stuff anyway. So they have really, really enjoyed this little book right here. I mentioned in the end of the year review that this was my kind of timeline. And y'all, it is. I'm just not the mama or the parent or the teacher, whatever, that wants to take up a big wall and constantly be adding to the timeline. I said it in the other video. I'll say it in this one. I do understand the importance of teaching a timeline. And so that's why I love this so much. It's just a book that the kids can pull off the shelf. We will always have this. And they can see things that came before or after. And like I said, it goes from creation all the way to 2018. We pull this out fairly often and just see where we're at. They'll find the year and what we're currently studying in the book and just kind of look around and see. They love, love, love. One of their favorite things so far that we've done with this is to look at when different states became part of the United States. So they have absolutely loved this timeline, and we can use it, look at it, and store it on the shelf until next time. And last but certainly not least are the student workbooks. And there's one page per lesson. And right here is a good example. We'll just go ahead and start right here on lesson 1. This is a good example of how this can work for multiple age groups. So this one said, draw people from different countries, including people of various ages, or write a paragraph about things. I'm reading upside down. Write a paragraph about things that are the same and things that are different for people who live in different parts of the world. And you can see here, my oldest, she chose to go ahead and draw a picture on this one, but she has also, let's see if I can find one that's a more recent. So sometimes she would do both. She would draw the picture and write. My youngest, my kindergartner, he always just draws a picture. So it has worked really, really well. And Easton kind of did the same thing. He is my 3rd grader. He kind of did the same thing as his sister. Sometimes he would draw a picture. Sometimes he would write a paragraph. Sometimes he would do both. But that has worked out really well. And then also, there are different coloring pages in here. The only thing that my kindergartner really needed help on was these end of the unit reviews. He was retaining a lot of the information. He just needed help reading it and maybe a little bit of prompts here and there on, what went with what. But for the most part, this has been perfect for all of my children. Let me show you some of Easton's work real quick. So that's just some examples of what you'll see in the workbooks. We finished all of book 1 this year, and next year we're going to go on to part 2, at least for my kindergartner, and he'll be a 1st grader next year, and my 4th grader. I may use another NOTGRASS curriculum for my 6th grader next year just to kind of advance her a little bit. But she has really, really enjoyed this. And she may actually do this with us as well as the extra history because she enjoys it so much. But Again, we will move on to book 2 next year, and it's worked that way for us because we actually started this about 8 weeks into the school year this year for various reasons, and we had tried something else out and then decided to move to this. And also, we only did it twice a week. So with that kind of schedule, we got through this book, and we will move on to this book next year. The kids are excited about it. This is one of those things that they are not tired of. They love doing this. They love when I say, okay, let's get our history stuff out. When I said, we'll finish this up next year, we'll keep working on this, they were excited about that. Sometimes there's curriculum that when you say stuff like that, the kids are like, oh, I really just want to try something new. It wasn't like that with this. The kids really, really enjoyed this. Now, I do want to go ahead and say, NOTGRASS did send us this curriculum to try out and share with you guys, but I always give my 100% honest opinion about these things. And I don't have to keep doing videos on this. I have shared this several times. Like I said, I've shared it in day in the life videos. I have shared it in the end of the year curriculum review. I'm doing a dedicated video on it now because several people have expressed interest in it. I don't have to keep doing that. I do that because we have genuinely enjoyed this curriculum and we were really, really excited about it. And I'm excited about continuing on with it just as much as the kids. I love this. And I'm excited about the new curriculum that Audrey may be trying out next year as well. And seeing how that goes and seeing what that's all about. So that's kind of a flip through and a look at this curriculum, our Star-Spangled Story from NOTGRASS. I hope you found this helpful, and those of you that kind of wanted to see in it a little bit more and get a better understanding of how it worked and why it worked, I hope that you got that information through this video. If there's anything else that I shared that y'all want to see more of, if there's anything else that I shared in that end of the year review that you want to hear more of, let me know. I'm happy to show it to you and happy to talk to you about our experience with it. If you're not already subscribed, hit that button, join our family. We would love to have you. We share a lot of family-related content around here, and part of that for us is our homeschool stuff. So if that's something you enjoy, subscribe, join our family. We would love to have you. And we'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.